Hi guys and welcome. I am Enigmius and this is episode 5 in the Builder's Guide to Feed the Beast. Today we're talking about power infrastructure. We're expanding our power infrastructure. This is a very important step. If you want to start moving up into better machines, better armor, better tools, this is what we need to be talking about, and that's why we're doing it now, is because it's actually not too difficult to do. It's just we need an upgraded storage block. The battery box just isn't going to cut it, especially if you want to be charging things. And we need to give a little bit of thought to what we're doing to generate power. Now, I've kind of gutted what we had here previously to at least some extent. I don't know why I dug that part out, but I did. This is our geothermal generator. He's just kind of hanging out there. Here are the 4 basic machine blocks and the cables that are connecting them to nothing right now. Now, the reason why I've got this all pulled apart is because I'm changing the storage block that we were using. Now, previously, we were using our bat box, so this holds 40,000 EU, and it's a low voltage storage block, and we can actually see that. Well, I'll just set it on the floor here for now. You can see how it's out 32 EU per T. That per T is per tick, and a tick is sort of like a Minecraft measurement of time. Assuming no lag, there are 20 ticks in a second. So this is basically giving you a comparative measure of energy transfer, and this one is considered low voltage because it's 32 EU per tick. Now, if we take a look at the MFE, which is the block that we're upgrading to, I'll put it right here and get this transformer out of the way. You see, this is 128 EU per T, which is medium voltage, and what that means is that the packet size is 4 times larger than it is for a low voltage sender. Now, there's a little bit of confusion around exactly how this works. If you've got 4 battery boxes feeding one machine, it doesn't mean that you're sending it medium voltage. It doesn't mean that you're sending it 128 EU per tick. It means you're sending it 4 packets of 32 EU per tick, which is not the same thing. Conversely, if you take this, which is sending 128 EU per tick, and distribute that amongst 4 machines that can take up to 32 EU per tick each, doesn't mean that it's dividing the voltage so that these will all survive. These will explode. If you send a medium voltage current to a low voltage box or a low voltage machine, it will explode. So that's something that we need to be aware of, and kind of why I wanted to just do a little bit of a guide on this as opposed to just saying, okay, now make an MFE and a transformer and plunk them into place. So first thing, I brought my wrench from the overworld, thankfully, and I've got some doodads lying around here, some leftovers for making these. So we've got the electric wrench set to lossless mode. Now, any time you've got a block like this, it's got basically like 1 output face and 5 input faces. If you right click on it on an input face, it changes it to an output face. If you right click on the output face, it pops the block. So you can pick it up, you can put it in storage, or you can put it somewhere else. Same goes for this guy. It's just something to keep in mind if you're trying to pick up a block and you right click on it once and it just changes the output face, especially if it happens to change the output face to a wire that can't handle that kind of voltage and you accidentally blow up a bunch of machines. So yeah, just keep that in mind. That's one of the reasons why I say don't run around your facility with your wrench equipped in your hand. So we've got the MFE that's going to provide up to medium voltage power to anything that wants it, and we need to step that down, and that's where the transformer comes into place. Now, this is the same as the battery box and the MFE. It's got, well, it's not the same. It's got an input side here, and it's got 5 output sides. Now, one of the things you have to be aware of, and this is especially true when you start working with tier 2 machines where you're giving them a redstone signal, is if you apply a redstone signal to a transformer, it reverses what the transformer is doing. So this is a low voltage transformer, and its native state will take medium voltage and convert it to low voltage. If we apply a redstone signal to it, it will take in low voltage from any of these sides here and output it as medium voltage. Now that's useful if you've got a bunch of things that are generating like a low voltage current and you want to send that through cables over a long distance, you can bump that up to higher voltages so that when the resistance penalty gets applied to it, it doesn't have as big of an impact. Now, there's math and numbers on that. You just take my word for it. There are selective uses where you would want to reverse this and use it to bump up the voltage, not when you're connecting it to machines, all right? So we want to be careful how we set this up. We want to make sure that we're setting it up properly so that it does what it's supposed to do, and we want to make sure that we don't inadvertently supply it with a redstone signal. So we're going to pop this guy up, and first thing we're going to do is we'll look at the recipes. You'll see that these aren't really super expensive. So actually I've got the transformer recipe here. LV transformer, low voltage transformer, is the one we're doing. It's just 2 copper cables, 3 copper ingots, and 4 planks of whatever kind of lumber you happen to have lying around makes your low voltage transformer. The MFE is a little bit more expensive. MFE, there it is. In that it uses the machine block that we're familiar with. It uses double insulated gold cable. I'll show you how to make that momentarily. And it uses energy crystals, which are a diamond surrounded by redstone. Now, this is why we put our mine shaft down to bedrock, is that it gives us access to the diamonds, right? We can dig around down there. Sooner or later, it's pretty much guaranteed you're going to come across diamonds. It's just a question of whether or not you're willing to put in the time. And I can guarantee you it's still faster than hunting around for ravines to go spelunking in, hoping that it goes deep enough to give you a chance at diamonds. So 4 diamonds shouldn't be too difficult for you to come across at this stage of the game. If you do have to go do a little bit of extra mining for it, hey, it is Minecraft. No one promised that you would never have to mine again, so enjoy it while you can. We'll get that out of the way sooner or later. So 4 of these, so 4 diamonds and 32 redstone makes you 4 energy crystals. And the double insulated gold cables, the easiest way to make them is you take 3... I'm not going to make any more of the cable because I don't really need them right now, but we take 3 gold ingots like that, makes gold cable, and you can see I've got 8 left from the last adventure. So you take 1 of those and 2 of those, and there's your double insulated gold cable. If you just use 1 rubber, it's a single insulated. The recipe calls for double insulated, so that's what you're going to have to make. So it's not really all that expensive. You see gold cable, but it's not bad. It's not bad at all. So we're going to do that, and put that away, and that, and that, and that. Watch, I'll probably need some of this now. So we've shown you the recipes. We've talked about making sure that you're not hooking the medium voltage directly to low voltage machines. And we've talked about the role that the transformer plays in stepping down the voltage. Ignore this spider running around on my roof. He's been there for quite a while, actually. So bat box, go away. Now, one of the things that I've found makes it a little bit easier when you're setting these things up is I try and set it up, the output face or whatever that single face is will always want to face you whenever you place the block. So I try and line myself up so that facing me means that it's going to be oriented the way I want it to be. So in this case, just like that, I want that facing in towards the MFE. And then when I place the MFE, if I did this right, I should be able to come in here, and again, I'm on an acute angle so that this will hopefully face me. We go like that. Perfect. Oh yes, you can see we've got power flowing to our macerator. So the geothermal generator is going. You can tell because the light is on. You can see, oh, I did the bat box. What is wrong with me? Okay, let's try that again, but with the MFE. We know it works. We just have to not be quite so silly. Here I was all excited I got it on the first try, and I derped it. Alright. There. And now this thing's out of lava, right? Of course it is. Lucky me. Okay, now cross your fingers, no explosions. Oh my goodness. It's been a long day. Alright, I don't hear explosions, but I do see power reaching that guy. So you can see the MFE is receiving power, and so too is the macerator. And if the macerator is receiving power, that means everything else is receiving power as well. So you can see 600,000 EU. You can do it with a single geothermal generator. The difficulty is if you suddenly show up with a mining laser, a lap pack, and 4 pieces of nano armor that all need to be charged at the same time, it's going to be a slow process. Now, one way around it, if you're able to generate enough lava, is to just add more geothermal generators. You can add as many as you want. I actually had another facility in a Tekkit world where I had 26 geothermal generators running and basically providing the equivalent of high voltage power. I was feeding 2 MFSUs with geothermal generators and having no difficulties whatsoever keeping my facility very, very well powered. So you can keep adding geothermal generators if you want to. What I would encourage you to do, or at the very least suggest that you try to do at this point in the game, is start transitioning to solar power. Now, again, this is the builder's guide to feed the beast, not necessarily the machine feeder's guide to feed the beast. If you like geothermal, if you want to go nuclear, if you want to play the Great Tech way and go fusion, absolutely, that's what you should do because that's what you want to do. But for my worlds, I like to put forward the initial investment of time and resources to set myself up with solar power so that I can focus on the builds later on. I don't have to worry about what's going on that's generating my power, whether I've got enough fuel for it, whether it's properly maintained. It's there. It's there when I need it. So that's one of the things that you want to take a look at. Now, advanced solar panels brought some really interesting things to the whole solar panel game in the sense that it's a little bit more diverse than the compact solar panels where all you ever really did was make low voltage solar panels and then combine them into arrays and then combine those arrays into better arrays and all the way up to high voltage arrays. It was just kind of repetitive. At least here we've got different tiers of solar panels that require different amounts of materials. But one of the things you'll find is that at the default settings, you do not get this recipe for the basic solar panel. You get something, it's some sort of radiated glass thing with like uranium and all that other stuff. I disabled it in the configs just because, just for a solar panel, I thought it was ludicrous. One solar panel is going to be such a trivial addition to your power grid that I felt having to go through the motions of compressing uranium and all that, whatever else is involved in that thing was just not necessary at all, not in the least bit. So if you want to go into the advanced solar panels, yeah, I think it's advanced solar panels is the name of the mod. Advanced solar panels config and changes. There's something about hard recipes or something, set it to false. You'll end up with a solar panel recipe that looks like this. If you want to do it with the expensive recipe, that's cool too. It's entirely up to you. But what I would suggest is you start making these as you have the materials to do so comfortably, right? Don't bankrupt yourself and make you know, I don't want you to put yourself in a position where you're feeling like you're so restricted by the materials that you're plowing into solar panels that you can't do anything else that you want to do. When you've got the materials that you feel comfortable investing into another solar panel, make a solar panel, connect it to your power grid, and then keep an eye on the required materials for the advanced solar panel. Again, this one's not too bad. Reinforced glass, a little bit expensive. Advanced alloy, little bit expensive. Then you start looking at these. As long as you've got access to glowstone, these are not difficult to make at all. Glowstone is usually the thing that kind of slows this down. The advanced alloy, things like that, are all things that you can look up. Right, advanced alloy, you take the mixed metal ingot in a compressor, and the mixed metal ingot is made up of this, stuff like that. You can use NEI to trace through all these recipes. The goal really is the ultimate hybrid solar panel, and this is why I'm telling you that I don't feel bad about using the easier recipe for this solar panel, because this recipe will kick your ass. This is not a cheap recipe. First of all, you're going to need an advanced solar panel, so you're going to have to make one of these and upgrade it to an advanced solar panel. Then you're going to have to add to it a lapis lazuli block, which is not bad. It's just 9 pieces of lapis. That's the least of your concerns. Then you get the coal chunk, which again is actually not all that bad. It's obsidian with 8 pieces of compressed coal ball, which is made up of a coal ball, which is made up of coal dust and flint. So that's not too bad. Where it gets really, really spendy is these guys. The Cenarium alloy, 8 iridium plates, and a Cenarium. Cenarium is 6 UU matter and 3 glowstone dust. That's not too bad. But it's the iridium plates, which is a diamond, the 4 advanced alloy, 4 iridium ore. All told, guys, 460 UU matter and 16 diamonds, not counting the advanced alloy or the lapis or any of that other stuff. 460 UU matter and 16 diamonds for one ultimate hybrid solar panel that generates 512 EU per tick during the day, 64 EU per tick during the nighttime, and when it's overcast and raining. So that's what I've actually got feeding my matter fabricator, or my mass fabricator. I don't have Greg Tech installed, so it's a mass fabricator. I've got 6 of these feeding it right now, and at any given point in time, I could probably shut it down because I'm starting to generate a surplus of UU matter now. It's taken a long time to get these into place. So there's that argument that it's too easy because once they're made, it's like free power. It's not free to get to that point. You're gonna pay for it. You're gonna pay through the nose to get them. But once you've got them, it's that peace of mind that says, as long as I don't blow them up or use my diamond pickaxe to pull them up and try and relocate them, the power is going to be there. So that's basically my sort of tip to you, is establish yourself with whatever you need to, whatever you're comfortable with, and then if you're not sure where to go from there, you could do a lot worse than start heading down the solar panel avenue. It's going to take you a while, but it's well worth it. So that's basically the long and short of how to take your first step, upgrading your power grid. You'll notice we haven't changed our machines yet. We basically have set ourselves up so that you can charge a lap pack, a mining laser, or nano gear in this thing. It's not a problem. You can also charge all your regular tools and things like that. You put them here. It's not a big deal. And we're one step closer to the MFSU, which, like I say, unless you're playing with Greg Tech and the ludicrous sort of storage options that he's starting to add to the mod now, is sort of the end game storage solution. You might have multiple MFSUs in a facility, but they don't get larger than an MFSU outside of Greg Tech. So there's that. And the one thing that I wanted to leave you with, because that was kind of a lot of numbers and conversions and things, which isn't always as fun as you might want it to be. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to make nano gear. I'm not actually going to make it because I've already got better and it's just a waste of materials. But what you do, first things first, is you take the coal dust that we made, just putting coal into our macerator, and we take it and we put it into a 2x2 grid. We get raw carbon fiber. We take the raw carbon fiber and we split it up again into 2. We get raw carbon mesh. We take the raw carbon mesh and we stick it in our compressor, and it will turn into, I'll show you here, nano. Turns into this. The stuff that I've got in the compressor right now, the raw carbon mesh, is going to turn into the carbon plate. And then you take these carbon plates and you combine them with energy crystals, and that gives you your nano boots, leggings, chest, and helmet. Oh, you'll need some glass for the helmet. We just tripled the cost or something there, so we'll need 1 piece of glass. So for 4 diamonds and a bunch of coal that we had no real immediate use for anyways, aside from, you know, solar panels, but come on, there's only so many of those you can make at once, you get yourself your nano suit gear. And what that means is that if you need the defense, if you're, for example, bombing around the nether, you're not digging or using a lot of power with your power tools, you can have that 4-piece nano suit gear on, and as long as it's all charged, you're not going to be taking damage from pretty much anything. You have the resources with an MFE to charge it. You can also, you know, you can make a nano saber too if you wanted. But that's, again, that's another power drain, something to keep in mind. So that's, all of that is within reach now. The mining laser, the lap pack, the nano suit gear, the nano saber. You have the storage solution that you can use to recharge it, which kind of brings you that next step closer to, you're not worried so much about getting gang beat by pigmen when you go to the nether. You're more worried about what kind of cool things you can build while you're there. And that's why it's the builder's guide. to feed the beast. So I have to decide what we're going to do for the next episode, and it's not because I can't think of anything, it's because I can't decide which to do first. So we're in the position now where we can start thinking about the really cool stuff, upgrading this, advancing this, branching off into that. So that's what I want to be doing. I'm leaning towards some thermal expansion stuff because that is just an absolutely brilliant mod in my opinion, and I want to kind of start diving into those for those of you who haven't started using magma crucibles and things of that nature already. We can take a look at that. We can take a look at some of the configuration options that are just absolutely brilliant that he's brought to the table with thermal expansion, and we can talk about using that and adding it in as part of our infrastructure. So that's expanding our power grid. If you like this and would like to be notified when I add another video, by all means, the easiest way to do that is to subscribe to my channel. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching and take care.